An Army veteran is out of a job tonight after doing what he said was instinctual. He tried to stop two shoplifters from running out of the CVS store he managed, but he was fired for doing it.
Joe Morisi served in the Army for 7 years, including a tour of duty in Afghanistan.
Now a company that operates a lot of those signs will be keeping an eye on the type of people passing underneath them. Clear Channel Outdoor America today announced that it will use cell phone data to do so. The program is called Radar. Fox 13's Aaron Nesmer in our control room. Some people are not thrilled with this, Aaron.
Yeah, Mark, for a lot of cell phone users, it's the bigger picture that makes them nervous. They're wondering how much data tracking is too much.
Everywhere you go, you can be tracked, and you might not know it.
People are completely unaware, they're oblivious.
New at 6, we're just hearing from the Phoenix City councilman caught on a controversial video denouncing gay marriage in the LGBT community.
Never thought I would see the day that men and men would be married.
Moments later,
this world is changing. Este mundo está cambiando, and it's time for us. Y es tiempo que nosotros take the leadership, que tomemos ese liderazgo, and change it back to the way it should be.
This video posted on YouTube, recorded last month, and the remarks come as a surprise to many.
A disturbing video out of Russia has gone viral. It reportedly shows a nanny walking around Moscow, clutching a child's severed head.
Russian prosecutors say that a nanny accused of beheading a child in Moscow was not acting alone.
The Moscow nanny suspected of beheading a child in her care says, quote, Allah ordered her to commit the crime. Well, she was not a Russian lady. It's hard to say. Maybe she had something wrong in her head. She went on to call herself, quote, Allah's messenger. A woman who says she's a neighbor of the victim's family believes it's the unpredictable nature of the attack which is most unsettling.
The producer who murdered his wife and daughter before taking his own life.
But the murder-suicide a year ago was far from cut and dry. Tonight, new and disturbing details we've never heard before.
The reality is the truth of what happened to David Crowley and his family is stranger and sadder than anyone imagined.
To look at the three of them through the Instagram filter of life, it's hard to imagine how it all went so wrong. David Crowley, a talented, promising young filmmaker, his smart and beautiful wife, Kamal, a dietitian, and their adorable 5-year-old daughter, Rania.
Tragic loss of an entire family. It looks like David snapped and took the lives of his wife and daughter, and then ultimately himself.
And from the start, it was a case wrapped in suspicion and mystery.
Here's the red flags.
With paranoid theories all over the internet.
Guys out here going after the truth, getting knocked off.
That the Crowleys were murdered as some kind of government conspiracy. All because of a personal film project David Crowley had worked on obsessively for years, called Gray State. This is a concept trailer for Gray State, which imagines the U.S. government taking away all our liberties. Kamal had told her family she was the sole breadwinner, that she was not physically or emotionally abused, but the financial struggles made her question the marriage.
He just lost his way.
A sliding back door was found slightly ajar, apparently for the family dog. But there were no footprints in the snow, no sign of forced entry. Inside, detectives would find a scene of domestic horror and normalcy. Teasing little love notes the couple left for each other around the murder-suicide took place the day after Christmas. David shooting Kamal twice in the head, Rania once, before shooting himself. Between their bodies, a Quran with pages torn out, opened to a traditional forgiveness prayer. And there on the wall, above the bodies, scrawled in blood, the words, Allah Akbar.
Who wrote Allah Akbar on the wall?
He did.
In her blood?
Yes.
In the Home Office, on a notepad, more bloody fingerprints, and the words, submit to Allah now.
We may never know what made David Crowley finally snap, but we do know this. There are some 1,500 murder-suicides in the U.S. every year. They account for about 5% of all homicides, and their numbers seem to be increasing. But we have no idea what pushed him over the edge.
Right, we don't know what the trigger was.
Hundreds of pages of police reports, no one ever saw David physically abuse his family. But that's also true with about half of all domestic homicides. There's no prior abuse.
A Sunday of worship shattered by gunfire. An Ohio church congregation hears the moment their pastor's life was taken.
An Ohio pastor was shot and killed inside his church during a service yesterday morning, and the suspect is his own brother.
A fugitive wanted for shooting a pastor in Idaho was arrested yesterday.
Well, this drawing is yet another twist in the case of an ex-Camp Pendleton Marine accused of shooting a pastor in Idaho 6 times. Police arrested Kyle Odom at the White House.
And joining us with his bizarre 21-page Martian manifesto, Hannah.
And guys, in it, he said the aliens are hypersexual, so they controlled his mind and stimulated him to the point of exhaustion.
Odom's father, Terry, tells KXLY that he had dinner with his son the night before the shooting, and there was no indication that Odom was planning any type of attack. Odom's dad says the Sunday shooting took them totally by surprise and that Odom is not a violent person.
The Secret Service tracked Odom to the White House, where they say he tossed flash drives over the fence. According to his manifesto, Odom believes Martians rule the world. He says dozens of them are U.S. lawmakers who crave control. The manifesto goes into disturbing detail about how the aliens got into his head. He also believes they live deep underground and in the moon.
Trust God, we trust Jesus, that he's going to work something miraculous through this.
First, our top story this morning, anger surrounding Donald Trump's presidential campaign reaches a boiling point in Chicago. Last night, the Republican frontrunner canceled a campaign rally over security concerns when thousands of protesters gathered outside an arena at the University of Illinois and then flooded the venue where he was scheduled to speak.
Trump's campaign events have turned increasingly hostile.
Sex offenders can't live within 1,000 feet of a school, but we discovered there is nothing stopping them from voting in one on primary day. That's why an elementary school polling site in Brook Park is causing some serious concerns for parents.
Many schools are used as polling sites across Cuyahoga County and have been for decades. But parents tell me times have changed.
Different age now. I mean, you don't know what's out there anymore.
At 11, a cruel encounter has a 7-year-old boy calling for just a little courtesy.
What happened on a flight left his family in disbelief.
Tonight, a Valley family in the national spotlight when they're taunted as they're forced to leave a plane. They say it was all because the little boy had an allergic reaction.
The family was returning home from a trip to Washington.
The father is fighting end-stage throat cancer. They were on the trip to make memories, but this is one memory they wish they could forget.
So we informed the flight attendant, who informed us that, well, there's dogs on every flight, and just smirked.
And I'm sad this has to be a memories with my dad.
As a dad, you know, I was just hopeless right there. And I was out there and I just looked at the people clapping. I was just like shaking my head. I was just like, man, let's get out of here.
An exciting and a rare moment in time. A total solar eclipse is seen across the Pacific tonight.
We didn't get to see it here, but amazing pictures are pouring in from a rare celestial event on the other side of the world. People in Southeast Asia experience a total solar eclipse. The rare phenomenon happens when the moon moves in front of the sun, so it casts a shadow on the ground. In some places, the total solar eclipse lasted for 4 minutes, but that is really incredible. And I think that, Matt, in the last couple of years, we've seen so much excitement about what's happening in the sky. You know, we have the blood moon and all the different names for the moons that we've seen come through. Super moon. They get so excited about it.
And then the super blood moon.
Well, you showed this on the morning show, and Jason, I love this. It gives you kind of a very unique perspective, and it was planned that way.
It was. Alaska Airlines has a trip that goes from Anchorage to Honolulu, and there was an astronomer a year ago who was looking at the coming of this eclipse and noticed, like, hey, there's a flight that goes right through there.
Oh my God! Whoa! Look at that! Oh my God! Here we go. Oh my God! It's coming right over us like a storm. Look at this! Oh my God! We're getting close. Getting close. Oh, built the dome. I got Corona. There it is. Diamond Valley's Bees. Valley's Bees Diamond Ring. Look at that. Corona. Totality. Totality. Oh my God. Look at that.
Now, dozens of people phoned the police from various parts of Scotland last night after a bright light from a suspected meteor shower lit up the early evening sky. Scotland says the force began receiving calls just before 7 yesterday evening from people saying they'd heard a loud bang or seen a fireball in the sky.
Out of nowhere, a dazzling ball of fire drops out of the sky, a suspected meteor burning up in the atmosphere above northern Scotland.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that?
All of a sudden the sky lit up. It was like a light switch. It just went from dark to light in seconds. It was the most surreal experience I've ever had.
Oh, the things that go boom at night. A mystery boom tonight on Long Island. So folks in Suffolk County frightened and calling 911. So what exactly was it? Here's Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan.
Around dinner time last night, many South Shore residents reported something shaking their homes. It's a story you saw first on 12.
The whole house shook, the windows shook.
Start texting my daughter in West Babylon, and they heard it too.
It stopped Don Worley right in mid-sentence and shook his home.
We were sitting on the couch watching TV, and the whole house started shaking, so we went outside. And all my neighbors were like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" We're like, "Yeah."
A noise that could be heard throughout his quiet Lindenhurst neighborhood. A loud boom.
Whatever it was, it literally shook the town. It was loud, and it was the same thing we heard, I guess, a month ago.
Suffolk police tell us the sound could be heard in several towns, but they have no knowledge of any explosions in the area. 911 calls flooded into dispatchers seconds after the loud...
I just got a call from Christina up in Deer Park, and they said they heard something really loud also.
Weird, because most of the booms you hear, when you hear something, you hear a car crash or something like that, you can pretty well tell which direction it came from. This, I couldn't identify which direction it came from. It just sounded like just a loud thud.
Mysterious loud noises have been concerning residents around Grundy County for weeks. Many people have reported their experiences of these booms, saying they saw a flash of light or felt it shake their house.
What is going on out there? Bizarre sounds are being heard all over. The latest is this creepy high-pitched noise. The mystery has everyone in the picturesque town of Forest Grove, Oregon, baffled.
There is a horrible, horrible sound coming from the outside of my property. That's high-pitched squealing.
It's like a real-life X-Files. This is where the jarring sound was first reported. As you can tell, it's normally a lovely, quiet neighborhood. But for the past 2 weeks, residents have been on edge because they don't know what the ear-splitting sound is or where it's coming from. It turns out this is just the latest incident in a worldwide phenomenon of unexplained sounds that have scientists scratching their heads. This spooky sound terrified a town in British Columbia. This was heard in Finland. And this piercing high-pitched sound was recorded in Michigan. As for the strange sound in Oregon, I asked acoustic engineer Tobin Cooley to analyze it.
Probably electrical, mechanical, gas, air.
But even he can't explain it.
I don't think anyone knows what it is yet, but that's probably what makes it more frightening.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Karen Scullin.
And I'm Tim Blotz. A rare blood infection is likely to blame in 18 Wisconsin deaths. The mysterious outbreak even has the CDC now investigating.
The spread in Sheboygan County now makes a dozen Wisconsin counties with reported cases, covering most of our area.
To have an outbreak of this magnitude is very unusual.
Disease detectives on the ground are still puzzled where this could be coming from.
I wish we already had an answer.
Well, it's no magic trick. A Canby man says he can now open his door, unlock his cell phone, and all he has to do is just swipe his hand.
It's because he has a microchip implanted in his hand.
Well, that would do it.
He says it's changed his life, and now he's shown.
This is a pretty interesting one, you guys. James Newman says he's embracing technology in a big way. 2 years ago, after reading some tech articles, he was inspired and he had a chip implanted right in his hand. He says radio frequency identification is the way of the future. And
officials are trying to get a handle on the rising number of earthquakes in the state.
Another major storm system, this one in the south.
We turn next on a Friday night to the other major headline, the historic flooding. States of emergency in several states tonight.
Oh my God! This same storm fueled a barrage of thunder and lightning in Texas. More than 750 strikes hit around San Antonio last night in just a 5-minute time period.
Survival is just one of several items that survived a house fire in East Tennessee. It happened in Hawkins County on Sunday. Nothing is left of the home except a few pictures and the family Bible. Donna Clark was asleep inside the home when it caught fire. Her neighbor saved her life after seeing the smoke and running to the house and waking her.
And this is one of several Bibles in the home that remain untouched.
It burnt nearly everything around it real bad. But this Bible wasn't touched. It has no smoke spots or no burnt spots anywhere. It looks like it just come out of the store.
Their faith, just like the Bible found in the rubble, also remains untouched.
A family of 8 is now without a place to call home after a devastating fire broke out, leaving nothing behind but ashes. While sifting through ashes and rubble, Jack was amazed to find a cross, Bible, and other religious items unharmed. She says it brought them peace knowing they were not alone.
You would think a house that was engulfed in flames, you would have lost everything. But of course, you know, God always shows a way and shows that He's always here at all times.
Well, a North Texas couple just starting their lives together lost their home and almost everything inside a fire. This is what they saw when they returned home to the 2700 block of Royal Lane in Irving. You can see the devastation there. Tonight we're learning about the miracle that they did find in the debris.
The newlyweds were just starting their lives together.
Not even 2 weeks.
When a fire consumed their home.
And the flames were on top of the ceiling going towards the cabinets.
They lost almost everything inside.
Everything except our Bible and marriage license.
Yes, a Bible and a marriage license.
Here's our Bible. And not a page was burned in the Bible. I keep my prayers in here. This is what means the world to us right here. Having our marriage license and our Bible.
2 items saved inside a home where everything else is destroyed. The marriage license was on this table, the Bible on the ottoman.
And we wonder every day what it means. What it means to have these 2 items.
A test of faith that is for certain.
It's something that I'll always cherish, and it will always remind me the 2 most important things to me in my life.
You know, a lot of things go viral on social media. You kind of scratch your head and don't get. This one was incredibly powerful. It comes from Baltimore. Look at this. It's a young teen praying over the body of a homeless man. It's gone viral now. This was taken by Eric Gaines, a police officer for the University of Maryland in Baltimore. He saw this and he says a lot of people come and shake down the homeless guy, seeing what's in his pockets, he thought this kid was doing the same thing. Then he realized he was actually praying for the man.